Just hitting start on the webinar and we will begin. Hello, hello, Travel Week readers. Thanks for being here today. Apologies for a little bit of a late start. We had some technical difficulties, as what happens sometimes when we are live. So thank you for waiting, and we are so happy to have you here, and I see you all filing in now, so thanks again. We've got such a great show for you today. We've got Sandy Fowler here with Footsteps in Africa, and she has an amazing presentation planned. I can't wait to learn more. Before I pass the floor over to her, I just will have one note of housekeeping today, and it is that, as always, if you have any questions during today's webinar, pop them into the Q&A box at the bottom. I will be on at the very end of today's webinar to ask any questions on your behalf. So if you have any questions at all for Sandy regarding Footsteps in Africa and how you can book through them for your clients, please don't be shy and use this time to get your questions answered. As you know, here at Travel Week, we are dedicated to providing the very best information so you can book amazing holidays and travel product for your client. And so without further ado, I am so excited to pass the floor over to Sandy. Hi, Sandy. Thanks so much for being here, and take it away.
Thank you very much. I really enjoy sharing our product with everybody around the world, and we really have an awesome properties and experiences to share with everybody. So we're located in the northern part of Botswana. Most of our properties that we have are in the Okavango Delta. And where you see the little vehicles dotted around, that's our mobile option. So we have really a good variety to offer clients. Most of our clients arrive either from Maun, which is the north of and the main area that people enter into Botswana, or otherwise they come in from Kasane, which is up in the north. And that's normally because they're adding on something along the Chobe Riverfront, or they're doing Victoria Falls, either the Livingston or the Zimbabwean side of Vic Falls before or post coming into Botswana. We're now very lucky. We've got 3 airlines that are flying either directly into Maun from Johannesburg or Cape Town, or into Kasane. And from the 10th of June, we're going to have Ethiopian Airlines flying directly from Addis Ababa into Maun. So it'll be our first international load of passengers that start arriving, which makes it very easy. And of course, they are part of the Star Alliance group. So if you've got clients that like to keep within a brand, it's going to make it very easy to come into Botswana in future. We are a group of unique and really independently owned lodges and experiences in Northern Botswana. And that's one of the things that makes us so special, is that our owners of our properties and the experiences are actually involved on a day-to-day basis. We're very eco-friendly. We've tried to keep our carbon footprint as low as possible. And we have 3 very special properties, and they all offer something very different in the different areas that they're located in. One of the things that I find really unique is the fact that all our camp staff and our guides come from the local village, which is either called Nocha Village or Kakaba Village. So these are guys that have grown up in the area. They've come through as children, they've watched their fathers being guides, or their family members work in the camps, and then they actually come and work in the camps ourselves. And they are, one of the things about them is these guys are trained Botswanan guys. So they know the area so well. So when they take you out on a mokoro, or when they take you out on our guided safari walks, which is something we specialize in, they know the area. They know where the animals can be seen. They've seen the animals track through these various areas for years and years. So they understand where the animals come and go at the different times of the year. And we're also very child-friendly. We're one of the few lodges in Botswana that we do accept children of all ages. And that's not just in the camps. It's also out on activities. So subject to parents' approval, children can come into the camps, they can participate on all the activities. The 3 camps that I'm going to talk about are in the Okavango Delta. We've got Oddballs Camp, which is the largest of our camps. It has 12 rooms, 2 family units, and these are made up of 2 separate tents. They have a shared bathroom in the middle, and then the other 10 rooms are either doubles or twins. But the family units really not only just for children traveling, but if you've got older children traveling with their parents, or elderly parents traveling with their children or grandchildren, they're in one unit. They have a shared bathroom, but they have easy access to each other. And it's an amazing area throughout the year. So although the water only comes into these sections of the Okavango Delta around mid-May to late May, we have an amazing array of different species of animals throughout the year, especially now in the summer months when the water dissipates. We have animals that are able to cross over from the bigger islands onto the smaller islands, and it means that we're getting to see unusual animal sightings. So it's not unusual for us to take clients out on walks and for them to see lion, leopard, cubs, big herds of elephant, big herds of buffalo at different times of the year. And one of the things that we do is that for every 2 guests, we have 1 guide, which is why it makes it easy for us to accommodate all the children that are traveling. And we do get a lot of families asking to come and travel. We get a lot of single travelers. We get a lot of honeymoon requests. And we do have rooms scattered in different areas of the camp that make it ideal either for families traveling, like our family units, or the honeymooners. They have a little bit more seclusion in different areas. No motorized activities, and we solar powered. So we do the guided safari walks, we do the Mokoros. And then one of the things that we do offer that's really different is a wild camp out experience. So we call it either a Mokoro trail or a walking trail. The clients come in, they stay 1 night in their first camp. They participate in all the normal activities, and then they go out with their guide right into the bush. They camp out in the wild for 2 nights with their guide. They don't have to carry any of the equipment, but at Oddballs, we encourage the clients to participate in setting up the camp, in cooking all the meals. At the other 2 camps, it changes slightly as they go across. And by the time they get to Delta Camp, the camp is set up for them. They have a chef that comes in and cooks for them. And it's a really amazing bonding experience for clients to be out in the bush. We get a lot of requests, especially for families traveling. And a lot of single parents come out and take their teenagers out in the bush. No Wi-Fi, so it's a real bonding experience. And then Oddballs Enclave is a nice, intimate camp. It only has 4 rooms. So it works either with families traveling, small groups of families, or with FITs. It's great for honeymooners because it's really intimate. And then they also have the option of booking only 3 rooms and still getting the camp on an exclusive basis. So all our rooms have ensuite bathrooms. At Oddballs and at Oddballs Enclave, they have the unique opportunity to be able to have a bucket shower. So we have hot and cold running water, but this camp has got an amazing view of the savannas, and we're really good at repurposing things. So the Mokoros that we use, and we only use the original traditional wooden Mokoro. So we haven't gone with the fiberglass ones. And when we can no longer use them in the water, we repurpose them as shelving, or we can use them, we make chairs or swings out of them. And it's the same option here where 2 people have 1 guide. It's all solar ridden, and we have the camp out option here too. And here it's a little bit more of an upmarket option to oddballs. We hear they would actually go out with the guide. They have better linen, but we do encourage clients to participate in building the camp, and as well as in helping cook the meals, although our guides have become really good at cooking meals for guests out in the wild. And then Delta Camp, which really is our flagship camp, overlooks what builds up into a lagoon when the floodwaters come in. Otherwise, you've got this really dry floodplain in front of you where we do get big herds of animals come through. This camp only has 7 rooms, and it's made up of either family units. We've got some triple rooms, we've got some double rooms, or we can set them up as twins. We're really wide open. So we want guests to be able to enjoy nature and not be stuck behind 4 walls. And really, the opening of the rooms is amazing, because you literally, when you wake up in the morning, whatever's in front of you, you can see. When you go to bed at night, you can see the animals out on the floodplains, or you can hear the hippos in the water. So whatever your client has requested, whether it's double or twin, or they need a family unit, we can set them up. And our special, amazing room, and I look forward to it, I'm going to be staying there tomorrow night, is our tree house. So it's 2 floors up, it's all on one level, it's got an ensuite bathroom, it's a 180-degree view of the floodplains and the islands on the other side of you. And one of the amazing things about our camps too is the fact that literally on the other side of the water we're on the southeastern side of Chiefs Island. And for that reason, we really have a good variety of different animals. Amazing place to see birds if you've got clients that are keen birders, and obviously clients that enjoy walking, because they can go out, and because they've only 2 packs for 1 guide, they can go out and decide whether they want to walk for 2 hours or whether they want to walk really early in the morning and come back. And if they want a siesta, they can. If they want a massage, we have a massage therapist in our high season. And then, of course, you've always got the wild out camping, where here the clients would have a more upmarket experience. They have proper linen. The chef comes out. The staff have already set up the camp for them. And we have a family special here, which is for every 2 adults in a family unit with 2 children up to the age of 16, which is quite unusual because most properties don't see children up to the age of 16. Those 2 children are accommodated free. So if you've got family traveling, it makes it an amazing value add for families. And really, I mean, in Botswana, it's not only about the big game. A lot of people come to see zebra, giraffe. It's the smaller things. They want to learn about the grasses and how the history of the Okavango Delta. We've got over 400 species of different birds. We get to see really unique birds, like the Powell's fishing owl, and we get to see it on a regular basis. It nests in one of our trees in Oddballs Camp. And one of the unique things that happened, and I've actually got Jethro, who's going to stand by and answer some of your questions at the end, but he can tell you more. In December, we had a leopard give birth to 2 cubs under one of our unused guides rooms at Delta Camp, which is a really amazing experience to know that they felt so comfortable to be able to give birth in our actual camp. This is the village. We're happy to take clients into the village. Our guides are very proud of where they come from. They're very happy to show them their homes. They're proud of it, the fact that their homes are neat and tidy. And obviously it's a living village. So when you go in, people are doing their washing. They may be cooking meals. It's a really living village to be able to go into. Our other experience that we offer is our mobile safari. We don't do set departures. We base it on minimum 2 people for minimum 3 nights. So literally very easy to combine with a stay in the Okavango Delta. So clients can literally choose a place they've never been to, but maybe read about, like the Magadi or the Central Kalahari, where they can see different species of animals, with a stay in the Delta, and we'll package it all for you. It's a proper set-up camp, proper beds, proper linen. A chef comes in, cooks all the meals for their clients. And it literally is a private safari. So whether they're staying in the Delta or whether they're on a mobile safari, the clients are having a private experience with their guide. This just gives you an idea of what a rack rate is. So what our lowest rack rate is to what our highest rack rate is. We do have a shoulder season. And then to make it really easy to package everything together, we have Delta Air. So they're our charter company. They're based in Maun. They meet and greet all our clients on arrival and departure. They're very handy to have there, because if clients have arrived and they haven't told you that they've got excess luggage, they're there on the ground to help our clients. They take them from arrivals through to departures, the same thing on reverse. When they arrive back from the camps, they make sure they get checked in on their flight back to Johannesburg or Cape Town, or connect on to their next destination. So they're very helpful. They also very passionate about the area and about Botswana. And brand new to our collection is a luxury mobile option. So this is for the client that wants that really wild experience, but they want the extras of what an actual camp room would have. So this is actually the setup of the luxury mobile safari, and based on the same thing of minimum 2 people, minimum 3 nights, no set departures, and we can also literally go to anywhere where the client is interested in. We tend to concentrate around the Moremi area, or the Chobe National Park, the Savuti area side of it, but we could go to the Central Kalahari, Makgadikgadi. We can go to the Chobe waterfront on any of our mobile safaris. There are amazing areas in the Moremi, and they're 2 very different areas in the Moremi that you can actually visit that have slightly different experiences. They have full bathrooms, so a walk-in shower, proper bed linen, bedside lights, a flushing toilet. They have a chef that comes in and cooks the meals as they would be in a fixed camp. So they get their 3 meals a day. They go out with their private guide. He'll drive them around. He'll go out either early in the morning. He's set up. So if you've got clients that are keen photographers, he's set up with sandbags. All the vehicles on our mobile safaris have charging units if clients need to charge cameras or phones when they're out on safari. So it really is a good way to be able to combine an overall stay in the Botswana by doing a mobile safari for 3 nights in perhaps the Moremi, and then going into the Okavango Delta. That's a very different experience. And Gareth is really passionate about the area, and his guides are excellent as well. And he's also very child-friendly. He will take children of all ages. On our budget mobile safari, we restrict the age of children to no children under the age of 7. And then lastly, we're going to be giving agents an online availability. So for those people that are not based in South Africa, it's very easy to book with us. You can contact me on the phone or on an email. Otherwise, we will be able to give you access to availability, which is going to make it very easy for you with the time difference. You can go and check availability and then send a reservation request. And we also love working with the local DMCs, or if you're working through a tour operator, let us know. We'll connect with them. We'll make sure they're updated with all the information. And if they are in Cape Town or Johannesburg or Botswana, I'm always very happy to give them a call and connect with them personally. So I want to thank you for listening to my presentation. I'm going to hand over to Jethro. He is an owner. He's grown up in Botswana. He's very passionate about the camps and our staff and the community that surrounds us. And Jethro is going to answer all your questions as well. So I'm going to hand over to Jethro. Jethro, can you hear us?
Hi, Jethro. We can see you, but we can't, I mean, we can, you're not muted, but we can't see you.
All right, so you can hear me, but you won't be able to see me. I've got a problem with my camera, so it's not going to work, unfortunately.
Okay, no
Um,
problem.
Sorry about that, but hopefully you can hear me well.
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Cool, thank you very much for having me. Um, so I don't really have a presentation over and above Sandy's. I'm just here to answer any questions you may have. So if anyone's got anything for me, feel free to ask away and
Yeah,
answer.
I definitely have some questions that I think some of our travel week community would like answered as well. Just as I'm
Cool.
about to ask them, I'd also like to remind all our travel agents that are on the call today, you can see the Q&A box at the very bottom of your screen. So if you have other questions, please feel free to pop them in the box. I'd be happy to ask those questions to Jethro on your behalf. So don't be shy and use this time to get your questions answered. Jethro, in the meantime, I had some questions. My first was, what is the best time to visit the Okavango Delta? What would be the best
Um,
time of year? Is there a low season, high season?
yeah, look, traditionally, high season is our winter months, so your summer months. So
Okay.
we're talking about sort of June, July, August.
June, July,
Um,
August.
that's traditionally the high season, and that's when we tend to see most of our business. Honestly speaking, asking the question when is the best time to visit is hard for me to answer because every different month of the year has something sort of special and unique about it here.
Mm-hmm.
I personally really love the rainy season, so my favorite time of year here is sort of the end of November, beginning of December, when the rains first start and the whole place just comes to life. And there's greenery everywhere, and the bird life is changing, and all the bugs are coming out, and the snakes are coming out of the ground. And I know a lot of tourists probably don't enjoy that experience because the bugs are all coming out and the snakes are coming out, and um, bush, the bush is all very thick, and it's good to see the traditional animals people are coming to see. Um, but that's my favorite time of year around here. I think it's so beautiful to see the place coming to life after the drier months. Um,
Amazing. And can you explain, just for those consultants that aren't as familiar with the destination, when you're talking about the rainy season, like how much rain can clients expect to get when they're there? Like, are they gonna, is it gonna be like a lot of time where it's wet, or could you explain that?
Honestly, difficult to answer because it's a year-on-year thing, depending on how
Mm-hmm.
good our rains are. When they first start in November, we tend to see more rains. We tend to have sort of these large thunderstorms in the afternoons. We don't get a sort of rain all day, sort of English style rain. We get these big thunder clouds where most of the morning will be pretty warm and clear, and then the pressure will build up during the day. The thunder clouds will build up, and then you'll have this break in the pressure and thunder, lightning, showers. It's really, really beautiful. There's no
Awesome.
words that can describe it as far as I'm concerned. It's got to be witnessed to be believed.
I that that
It
sounds
does
amazing.
it does make it challenging, honestly, from a practical perspective, because you might get wet. I've been often rained on while out on a walk in the rainy season, but I'm a very adventurous kind of guy, so I don't mind that at all. Um, yeah, it's but very much a year-on-year thing. This year our rains came very early, and they stopped halfway through January. We haven't had much rain until today. Actually, we had a bit of a spurt.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it changes from year to year, but generally speaking, we get a burst sort of the end of November, in December, and then it dies off up until about March. We get another little spurt in March, April, and then it tails off into the winter months. And then we don't see any rain again normally until the next rainy season, November, December.
Okay. Wow. Thank you for answering that. I have just a few more questions, and then I see some other questions filing in from our Travel Week community. I will get to those as well. So stay tuned for those questions. I'm wondering, I know Sandy was talking a little bit about like the different seasons and what animals are around. What kind of animals do your tourists typically see in the Okavango Delta through the different seasons?
Right. So normally in the wetter months, you're seeing less cats, to be honest, in the wetter months, when especially if it's a very big flood and the water takes over most of the delta. Then what happens is you tend to have things isolating on islands, and the cats would leave off, go to the bigger islands. So on Chiefs Island, we see them year round. And then the sort of the general antelope and plains game are around all the time. That obviously fluctuates a little bit depending on how wet it is. At this time of year, and at the moment, we're having a very dry period, so we're in sort of a drought, and the amount of cats we're seeing in camp is actually unreal. You wouldn't believe the stories if I told you.
Wow.
We're having just unbelievable sightings. I think we've had a lot of wild dog sightings from oddballs from the breakfast table. We've in the last few months 3 cheetah kills from the breakfast table at Delta Camp. While people are
Wow.
just sitting there eating breakfast.
Wow.
So the cat life at the moment is incredible. I heard Sandy mentioning the story of our resident leopard who gave birth underneath one of our guide rooms a couple of months ago. It's really special, and for me is a very proud moment because it
Oh, I think
feels safe to give birth in the middle of the camp, surrounded by the staff. It's really mind blowing.
wow, that does sound like it would be absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah, so I hope I'm answering the question there.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Go ahead, go ahead.
no, so I was just going to say, generally speaking, in the winter months, it's easier to see game because the foliage dies off a little bit because it's less bushy. There's less moisture in the air, so it's easier to see stuff. A little bit more challenging in the rainy months, but again, you know, in our area where our guides walk, where we don't walk in the forest areas, if you're following the guide, you're still going to have an incredible experience. But again, it is more challenging to spot the animals because there's more places for them to hide.
Right, right. I see. I see.
Yeah. Whereas
Wow.
again, the winter months, traditionally they're the most popular months, I think, because game viewing is slightly easier.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, sounds amazing really all year round. Like it's the type of place you could definitely visit many times at different times of the year to see different things.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of those things that Botswana is one of those destinations that really attracts return visitors. We have a lot of people that come back to see it at different times, to see different things, to see a different place that they heard about when they were here last time, because it's quite a big country. It's quite fast. You don't always have the opportunity to see everything in one go.
Yeah.
So we attract a lot of return visitors for that. People come here for a specific aspect of the country. They haven't heard about other aspects. They hear about them while they're here, and they want to come back. But yeah, it's. I mean, I know it's my job to tell you this, but obviously, you know, for me, there really is no best time of year to come. It depends on your personality and the kind of adventure that you're looking for and what your interests are. Because like I said, for me, the best time is when the whole place is coming to life and all the little critters are coming out. And there's also fun things going on. It's alive and abundant in a way that it isn't in the colder months. But again, you know, the winter months are truly viewing is abundant. It's so beautiful and crystal clear. And also the other aspect of it, I think for guests coming from Canada, is the heat aspect.
Yes, definitely, especially right now.
Brutally hot. So the months, it's probably a little bit more easy to acclimatize.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I can definitely hear the passion and enthusiasm you have for the destination coming through in your voice. So it's great to hear that, and for our community to be able to hear that. I have another question about children. So I know Sandy was mentioning something about certain camps only accepting kids over the age of 7. Do you accept children everywhere? Is there anywhere where there's no children accepted?
Yeah, well, I mean, especially in our philosophy is that I grew up on the island the way we operate. So you know, I was there my whole life.
Amazing.
So our philosophy is if I could survive and other kids who grew up there with me survived, I think your kids can survive. But it's obviously at the parental discretion. So if you're happy and you believe that your child is going to be safe and you can control them in the environment and that they can follow the rules, then you know, more than welcome. and you know, we set up in a way that we're very much a family establishment. So we've got certain guides that are better with kids, or enjoy the kids' games themselves, and you know, not less necessarily specifically trained to be with children, but they have the skills and the passion to be with them. And we have this sort of expression here that it takes a village to raise a child.
Mhm.
So all of our ladies are raising other kids from other women in the village when they have to. It's often the case that people are out at work and leave their kids with a cousin or something. So everyone in the area is adept at looking after other people's children. We have obviously some people that we earmark because they have a specific skill in that department. So yeah, we're very much open to the idea of having kids of all ages. I think, as Sans mentioned, that especially for the budget mobiles, the operator at the moment has a limit of 7, I think, for kids. But maybe I'm giving away a little too much, but we're bringing on another operator that is happy to take children. So that is something we're going to solve, and I'm sure Sandy will be sending more information once we wrap that all up.
Excellent.
Because we try to make sure that everyone across the board is the same ethos.
That's great. Amazing. Thank you for answering that. On that note, one of the travel advisors here, Natalie, she was asking more about safety in general. So I think I just thought I'd start with that question from our travel agents because it kind of was linking to what you were just speaking about. Her question was, is it completely safe? And so how would you answer that for our consultants and their clients?
Honestly speaking, I think anybody who's taking you out into the bush that tells you it's completely safe is a liar. There is no such thing as completely safe in the bush, which is why we have very set rules that we follow.
Yep.
Follow the rules and you will be safe. Break the rules and you might not be. So honestly speaking, your safety is dependent on your attitude and your ability to listen, to follow the rules, and to apply them yourself. We, in 40 years of operating, have never had an incident while on a walk. We have had 2 incidences on Mokoros, but those are freak things that happened, and not for a long time, not for about 20 years. So I'm very proud to say that we know we have an exemplary safety record, but you never know. And we are obviously operating in an environment that is we have no control over. It is really truly a wild space. The animals are not tame or used to human beings on any level other than the way we interact with them. But what I will say is that where we operate, my father originally chose the area because the village was there, and because it's a traditional Baye village where the people were walking around the area themselves all the time and interacting with it in a very real way. So our guides have been walking in the bush for generations. We've been walking in that area for generations. We know it like the back of our hand. We tend to know the big bull elephants that could be a problem by sight. So we tend to know their personalities. We don't always get it perfect. There are movements and migrations, but we tend to know the animals that are around, particularly with the elephants, which ones might be trouble and which ones might not. So while I can't say it's completely safe, I can say it's one of the safest areas to walk because it's been done for so long and we have so much experience in the area. We know it so well that for us, it's like walking down the road to a coffee shop. And most of my staff are walking from the village to the camp every day for work. So they're very much on top of it.
Thank you. That was a really amazing, honest, thorough answer. I think really important. Definitely good for our consultants to know. And I think for any clients that are interested in going into these wild destinations, that was really a great way to answer it. So thank you for that, Jethro.
Yeah.
Our next question comes from Edith, and she's asking about if you have any limitations for people with disabilities. So can people who are in a wheelchair, for example, access your camps, or is that something that they might not be able to do here?
Honestly, I wouldn't recommend it because it would be challenging.
Yep. Okay. Yep. No,
to,
that's
to
good to know.
managed. But I genuinely, but my perspective is that they were very amazing people. Really, accepting of the fact that it would be a challenge and willing to take on the challenge, and happy to be out there facing the challenge. But it's not easy, and we don't have wheelchair ramps and stuff like that, and getting in and out of Macoro is not the easiest experience. So it does require a level of physical ability for sure. But our guys are very used to particularly having elderly guests. So we're used to accommodating people's different levels of physical ability. We can obviously tailor our walks and the length of them and what the content is for that sort of thing. But again, it's very much an adventure camp, so it's challenging for people that have disabilities. I'm not going to lie, but we will do everything we can to accommodate them if they want to be there. Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you for that answer. Edith says, perfect. She thanks you for that answer as well. I think it just helps our consultants know when they're planning trips for their clients, where and when and who and how. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This next question comes from Ruth, and she's asking kind of along the same lines. First off, how far are your guests typically walking on safari? And then overall, she was asking, how do the walking safaris work? Like, what time do they typically start, and etc.
Sure. So, look, we don't run a military style operation. So realistically, the walks can start anytime you like. We have set recommendations because it's the best time of day in terms of wildlife viewing and the weather, all that kind of thing. So normally we would start the work. We'd wake you up. We'd give you a wake up call at first light. You'd have a cup of tea and some biscuits or a muffin, and then you go on the walk. Then you would come back for your breakfast around 9:30, 10 o'clock. At this time of year, our wake up calls about 5 o'clock, 5:15. In winter, it's closer to 6. But when I was in camp last, we had 2 sets of guests, and the one set of guests, they were actually the 4 ladies traveling together, and the ladies were very avid walkers, and they went off with their guide. They did, I think, 10 kilometers the one morning, and these did 1.5 kilometers. They just did a small stroll and were back quickly. So we can accommodate. That for every 2 guests, we have 1 guide. The reason that we do that is in case that people in the group have different preferences. In case we're on a walk and somebody wants to go back to the camp, there's a guide who can go with them. So we try to mitigate it so that people's preferences and desires are met. And sometimes, like Sandy mentioned, we often have teenagers along with their parents, and we very often get teenagers who are halfway through the walk. So I really want to go home now, and their parents are willing to allow us to go home. So the guide assist that. And, yeah, I hope that answers the question. I'm kind of rambling now.
That definitely answers the question. Thank you. And it gives a good sort of overview of what some of our consultants' clients can expect. So thank you there. This last question comes from Chris, and he is asking Jethro, what is your favorite African experience? That's a big one.
My favorite. Yeah, that's a very difficult one to answer.
Yeah, maybe a few.
Chris, I've lived here my whole life, so I've got some pretty crazy experiences. But I mean, if you want my favorite experience from Botswana, one of the most incredible experiences of my life was also one of the most scary experiences. I once was locking up the main area, my dad, a few years ago, and we walked into the kitchen and locked the door behind us before turning the light on. And we then flicked the light on and found ourselves face to face about 2 meters away from the leopard, who is actually the mother of the leopard who's giving birth on the island at the moment.
Wow.
And there are no words to tell you to describe the experience of coming face to face with the leopard in a locked space, with nowhere to go.
No kidding.
um, and yeah, it was a very deeply spiritual experience because she was about 3 meters from us, looked us dead in the eyes, and then decided to just turn around and walk away.
Wow.
So I think that's probably my most memorable experience in life. I've got plenty of other stories,
I can
but yeah, that's
only
probably the
imagine.
most memorable. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and then it's just in Africa in general. I'll be honest, the agents don't normally like me saying this because one of my favorite places is Namibia. It's really just incredible. And one of my favorite experiences is having that drive from Namibia into Botswana and experiencing the change from like pure desert into sort of savanna land and then into the delta. It's an incredible experience to sort of see how the geography changes over that space.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Again, I just love hearing, you can definitely hear the love that you have for this region in your voice when you speak. So thank you for sharing all of that. And what an experience to come that close to a leopard in a locked space, no less. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
not following the rules, so I hope no one else has that experience. But yes,
yeah.
um, I mean, one experience that I mean I can share, that I've had several times is seeing lions on foot. Um, that a lot of our guests do have that experience, and even if it's 200 meters away from you, there's just something different about seeing a lion on foot than in a vehicle, especially when you notice it noticing you.
Hmm.
And you notice that it doesn't want to be near you, and that they're more afraid of you than you are of it. And they sort of see
Wow.
you, they sniff you, and they try and avoid you as best they can, and you can support them, and they'll go in the opposite direction. Um, and that's a pretty crazy experience because I think most people have this innate fear of lions because of media, and they are kind of scary, I guess. But it's a very different experience when you actually see them on foot yourself. You
Hmm.
realize it's not trying to kill you, it's not hunting you, it's got no real interest in you, and if anything, it's more scared of you than you are of it.
Hmm.
And that I think I underappreciate sometimes in this experience, and I think for most of our guests, it's one of the things that can be really life altering.
Yeah,
In a way.
absolutely. Absolutely. I can definitely imagine that being life altering for sure. Wow. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Um, well, it looks like that is the end of our questions for today. Jethro, also Sandy, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to give to our Travel Week community before we close out the show for today?
I think one of the important things is I did want to add is we are always very happy to have agents come and visit and stay at our camps and actually experience what it is to be in Botswana and to experience the Okavango Delta or to go out on a mobile safari, because it is very different to a South African safari or to a Namibian safari. And for us, it's very important that the agent gets to know what it's like before they're selling it to a client. And if anybody ever wants any extra information, we're always happy to share any extra information with them. And any questions, there's never a stupid question, and you can never ask a question too often. So anytime, we thank you for your time, and thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you both for being here today. It is absolutely a pleasure to have you on and to be sharing this valuable information with our community. Sandy, we just had a few notes from travel agents. Francine is asking, can you go back one slide to the slide that has your contact information,
Yeah.
just so they can see that one more time? so they are able to jot that down and get in touch. I also want to remind you, travel agents, as I said at the beginning of the webinar today, yes, this webinar is recorded. It will be posted on Travel Week's YouTube channel shortly, and we will also send a follow-up email with the link to that recording. So you will all have it there. You can rewatch if you came in late, or if you had some other questions you wanted to just watch again, or even if you wanted to share with other consultants in your office or other consultant friends, etc., you can definitely do that as well. So thank you for that. Ruth says, thank you for a very informative and great presentation and great stories. I definitely agree with that, Ruth. So again, Sandy, Jethro, thank you. And thank you to our Travel Week community. Yeah, it is such a pleasure to have you here. Jethro, did you have anything you wanted to add before we close out?
No, not at all. Just to say thank you very much to everyone. And I just to emphasize what Sandy said, especially from my perspective as the operator, I highly recommend that everyone come and visit. There's no substitute for the experience. No matter how much I tell you about these stories or try and convince you of it, nothing is going to convince you other than being here and seeing it for yourself. So I really recommend that as agents, you try and visit if you can, if you get the opportunity, and not even for your business, just even for yourselves. It's well worth it, I assure you.
Yes, absolutely. I can definitely see that myself. And now I'm like, when can I go?
Yeah.
So thank you again, Jethro. Sandy and Travel Week community,
Thank
thank
you.
you. We will see you at the next one, and stay tuned for the follow-up with the link to the recording. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great
Thank
rest of your
you.
day. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.